Good. 5 p.m., welcome to the Fairfield Student Unified School District Governing Board. 5:30 p.m. on July 24th. May we have a roll call, please?
President Patero,
Here.
Trustee Flynn,
Here.
Trustee Tilley,
Here.
Trustee Duarte,
Here.
Trustee Hunley, Trustee Parr,
Here.
Trustee Wilson.
Here.
Thank you very much, Ms. Gray. May we have a motion to approve the agenda, please?
Move approval.
Thank you, Mr. Flynn. Second, thank you, Dr. Tilley. May we have a vote, please? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. So item C, the board will adjourn to closed session for discussion and possible action on matters of student discipline, property negotiations, litigation, public employment, and employee discipline, dismissal, or release. Are there any public comments, Madam Clerk?
None have been received, Madam President.
Okie dokie, we will adjourn to closed session. Nisambula Vinaka, and welcome to the Fairfield Eastern Unified School District Governing Board meeting on the 24th of July. And may we have, let's see, Mr. Kaya Subio, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please? Madam Superintendent, if you would report any action taken in closed session, please.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to start off with some good news. We have a couple appointments this evening. I'd like to share with the community the affirmation of the appointment of Bertha Ortiz for after-school program manager. There she is. I don't know if she's joined us in the audience this evening. Well, regardless, we're going to celebrate her. Ms. Ortiz comes to Fairfield Sassoon Unified School District after serving as a guidance specialist for the Migrant Education Program. Ms. Ortiz has been a Spanish teacher, family support specialist, and coordinator prior to coming to this role. The vast experiences gained in her prior roles will provide the needed background to serve as an after-school program manager. One of her references shared, one of Bertha's most remarkable qualities is her meticulous attention to detail and follow-through. She not only monitors student progress using LPAC scores, attendance data, transcript analysis, and graduation outcomes, but she also takes initiative to create responsive action plans and develop meaningful interventions. Ms. Ortiz has a bachelor's degree in education from the University of California, Davis. Go Aggies. Staff recommends the appointment of Bertha Ortiz as after-school program manager. And that was unanimously approved by the board. Oh, okay. By a unanimous vote, our next position is Coordinator of Educational Services, and we have appointed Crystal Beckendorf, a Coordinator, Educational Services. Can you please stand? It's great to see you, Crystal. Ms. Beckendorf has begun her career in FSUSD as a classified GED test examiner. She went on to be a special education teacher for the last 6 years, serving at Crystal Middle School. During her time at Crystal Middle, she served as a special education department chair, a new teacher mentor, and provided numerous training in working with students with special needs. One of her references shared, as a gifted collaborator, Crystal actively consults with resource specialists, instructional service providers, special education, and general education teachers to develop and implement effective, compliant, and student-centered programs. Her expertise in the referral assessment, identification, and placement process ensures that students with disabilities receive timely and appropriate support, all while maintaining compliance with state and federal mandates. Ms. Beckendorf holds a Bachelor of Science degree from Humboldt State University. She also holds a Master of Arts in Education from the University of Redlands. Congratulations, Crystal. Welcome to the team. Under superintendent's evaluation, the board has approved for the superintendent 25-26 goals for the next school year, and under employee discipline, the board received information. And there is nothing else to report from closed session.
Thank you, Madam Superintendent. My only board report is that if there is anyone in the audience who'd like to make a public comment and has not yet filled out one of these green sheets of paper, please do so, and please hand it to either Ms. Gray or Ms. Summers. Madam Superintendent, your report.
Thank you, President Patero. Trustees, it's great to see you. Happy summer. I hope everyone's having a relaxing and restorative break. I was able to take off some time last week to spend some time with my family and some friends. My three nephews are all different ages, 2 at the elementary and 1 a rising middle schooler. So they were all very excited about summer, but also more excited about what the fall means to them. So it was a wonderful and relaxing time. As I go to the next slide, as I grab out my clicker, our LCAP goals are ones, thank you. Our LCAP goals are ones that ground much of our work. And as I reviewed my evaluation at the last meeting and then my new goals coming up into the school year, these LCAP goals are ones that are referred to in multiple places and spaces. And that's really very, very intentional to make sure that the work we're doing is aligned, that it's coherent in nature, and it's something where individuals do truly understand where we are moving as a district to ensure all of our students have a high-quality education. These are some of the goals, and they're ones that I will share widely with the different teams, executive, cabinet, as well as our school sites. And the goals are very broad, but underneath are certain areas that I'm going to be holding myself accountable, working with the team as we go into this next school year. Of course, the relationship with our Board of Trustees is incredibly important, since you are integral in setting the mission and the vision in the district, providing that North Star. The Plan, Do, Study, Act cycle that we have been working on as a system, utilizing data to make the best decisions possible when it comes to serving our students' needs, is a priority, as well as taking a look at our new student screening tools that we are going to be utilizing specifically in the area of reading difficulties. Foundational literacy is going to be a huge push as we start the school year, and we do not want to forget our college and career indicators, ones that really do focus, yes, on our high school students, but most importantly, it's really the result of hard work that students or teachers at all grade levels put in order to make sure our students are college and career ready. Under Goal 2, a communication plan with the support of our new Executive Director of Communication and Community Engagement, working on different ways in order to reach out to the community in order to share the good news about what's going on with the school district. Growing our own, always something that we are looking to improve, and we are continuing to plan different things for certificated as well as classified staff. And then the Sam Yetto redesign. LCAP goal number 6 is all about Sam Yetto, and we're extremely excited with certain things that have got planned for the future, but it does take coordination. It takes some additional funding that's been earmarked that the state has provided. And so that is under Goal 1. Goal 3, really accepting leadership and responsibility as well as accountability for implementing the vision, goals, and policy for the district. That will include a review and updating of our mission and vision for the district, a focus on how we are working in collaboration with our different labor partners as well as our school sites on our community schools grant, and then one item that's actually on our agenda this evening to start talking about is a board governance handbook, which the work that has been done is really to have a handbook that really reflects the goals of this board and keeping that at the forefront of how we do business. So just a little bit of an update on hiring and vacancies, because it is that time where everybody's running around trying to make sure their classroom teachers and all their positions are staffed. These are just in the vacancies we have right now, not counting the folks on pending contracts. We're running them. Still may actually have a couple additional elementary or secondary teachers in order to reduce these numbers, but the human resources team works diligently every single day, and even in the they hear about somebody that might have an interest in education and maybe some units in math, it's something where they're just taking that opportunity to try to see whether or not they'd be interested in supporting our students. Special teams, as I like to call them, there's more than this, but just psychologist, nurse, speech, of course we have librarians, but I just wanted to kind of give you an idea about how we are going to be monitoring and sharing out our hiring and vacancy information to the community. So just a quick federal government update, and I do know that we've got a budget item on the agenda, but just if you haven't heard, our federal government froze over $7 billion in federal funding for funding around 24 states, the last count. For California, it's actually over $800 million alone. For Fairfield Unified, Sassoon Unified School District, it's adult basic education, Title II, Title III, Title IV. And you see a little bit of a descriptor next to each of them, and that's the number, the entitlement that we should have received, not for 26-27 or beyond. This is for this coming year. We should have received this July 1, and it was frozen the week before. Good news for some districts is that they just released over the last, I would believe, 2 days, 21st Century grant money. And that's really to support after school programs, but we don't have that grant. So we are still in the same boat as this slide is showing, that we have close to almost $2.2 million that is frozen right now. That does mean it impacts classified as well as certificated positions. Because we have new information from the state of California, we are able to do some bobbing and weaving to identify other funding sources that might be able to cover these same positions, because we're committed for the next year. We do not have August layoffs, so these individuals are ours, and many of them are providing absolutely critical service. So because we have such a brilliant finance and budget team, they have looked at different funding sources in order to make sure that next year we are able to support the positions that are embedded in these federal grants. But we're really hoping that they're going to unfreeze those dollars. During the summer, we have quite a bit of construction. So as we are hiring teachers, we need a place to put them. So what we've got are some pictures of Anna Kyle. If you haven't been over there lately, it's really taking shape. It's got an office space. It's got kindergarten, call it the kindergarten complex. So a lot of very, very hard work going in to make this a very engaging learning space for our youngest scholars. Summer construction is also happening at B. Gale Wilson, as well as Armio CTE area. So on the bottom, you see our gym at B. Gale Wilson. And that's been a long time coming, that middle school has an actual middle school gym and not have to be in a multi-use room or just out on the blacktop. So that is something that appears to be on schedule, last checked. In the Armio High School, yes, it's a bit of disarray, but you got to do demolition first if you're going to build from the bottom up. So that is just, if you take a look at the very top picture, Armio, you see where the solar panels are. So that's that front parking lot. So they're demolishing everything, and as they build from the ground up, literally, we're very excited about the different types of career technical education spaces that our bond funds are supporting. On for this evening for information is the governance handbook, and I really do want to thank the committee for working so closely together. They met on May 22nd, June 25th, July 9th in order to talk through the document with really the goal to simplify, condense, and remove redundancies. And really the handbook for a board is really a summary document that is supposed to help the board operate efficiently while also referring to appropriate bylaws and policies when necessary to go into more detail. So really just thank you to the subcommittee for that. And upcoming attractions. Most people are on break, but we've got a lot of planning in the works. A lot of this is falling on the educational services plate. So we've got new administrator workshop, Premier Start, which are for our new teachers. Early college high school actually begins August 6th, since we follow the same college schedule as Solano Community College. We have our admin council meeting on August 6th. I hope you will be able to attend that. It's just going to be an hour or two in the morning. Teacher workshops are August 7th and 8th. Back to School Resource Fair is Saturday, August 9th, and it is always a great event to see our families. Planning days for our instructors, August 11th through 12th, and then the first day of school is August 13th. August 13th seems like quite a few weeks away, but it is not. And time flies extremely fast between now and then, so hold on to your hats. And lastly, just wanted to say congratulations, Dr. Nikki Parr, congratulations for being appointed last night as interim county superintendent. It's a lot, and I'm sure that, I know last night you received so much love and attention and support from the community, and we just really wanted to recognize you, and we will do it more later, but just, I wanted to take that opportunity and just let the community know that, yes, you're leaving us, and very quickly, we will need to find somebody to fill that very important seat. So what we will be doing is pushing out a survey to the board in the Friday letter, asking for your availability on some dates so we can then plan a board study session. We have to determine whether or not we're going to, a special board meeting to determine whether or not we're going to go out for an appointment, go for an election, and there's a couple other things we'll need to talk about, like with regards to a timeline. So more information on that, so please take a look at the Friday letter. And I just really want to say thank you to everybody, and that is the end of my report, Madam President.
Thank you very much, as usual, for your very thorough report, and congratulations again, Dr. Superintendent of Solano County Office of Education, Dr. Parr. And we don't have any recognitions. Now it's time for public comment, opportunity for members of the public to make comments on speech not to exceed 3 minutes on matters that are within the subject matter jurisdiction of this board that are not on the agenda, and all comments will be taken into consideration by the superintendent, the board, and staff. Are there any public comments, Madam Clerk?
None have been received, Madam President.
Thank you very much. Moving on to consent calendar. Are there any public comments on the consent calendar?
There are none.
Okay, may we have an approval, a motion to approve the consent calendar, please?
Move approval.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Flynn. Thank you, Madam Dr. Tilley. May we have a vote, Ms. Polk?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Excellent. Moving on to action items. Action item 12A, review and potential approval of resolution number 04-2526, governing board declaring its intention to grant an easement to Pacific Gas and Electric, PG&E, for purposes of installing and maintaining electrical infrastructure for utilities at H. Glenn Richardson. There are no public speakers. May we have a motion, please?
I would like to move approval, and I'm excited to see that our charging stations will be going forward at that site.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Tilly. May we have a second?
I second.
Thank you, Dr. Duarte. Do we have any discussion? May I have a vote, Ms. Polk?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. 12B, review and potential approval of RFQ P225526, high school enrichment and tutoring programs to Think Together and top-tier tutoring. There is no presentation. There are no public speakers. May we have a motion?
Move approval.
Second.
Thank you, Dr. Tilly. Thank you, Dr. Hunley. May we have any discussion? May we have a vote, Ms. Polk?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Item C, review and potential of approval of award of RFP 2022-5626 laptops to CDW Government LLC. There's no presentation. There are no public speakers. May we have a motion?
I move.
Thank you, Dr. Parr. May we have a second?
I second.
Thank you, Dr. Duarte. Any discussion? May I have a vote, Ms. Polk?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item 13A, review and potential approval of proposed amendment to employment agreement of Assistant Superintendent Business Services, Linnea Grindle. May we have are there any public speakers?
There's no public comment, and I
Oh,
would
no
love to
public
move
comment.
approval.
Thank you very much. May we have a motion that was Dr. Tilly? May we have a second?
I second.
Thank you, Dr. Duarte. Any discussion? Ms. Grindle, you are amazing. I think I've said this to you, and I want to say this in public. After taking the Masters in Governance Module 3, if I wasn't already in awe of you, I have so much respect. There is so much to learn. I still don't know anything. And I want to thank you for keeping us financially afloat for all the times that you've been here. So thank you very much. May we have a vote, please? Ms. Polk?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. Item B, review and potential approval of proposed amendment to employment agreement for Assistant Superintendent, Educational Services, Dr. Sheila McCabe. There are no public speakers. May we have a motion? I would like to make that motion. May we have a second?
I will second that motion.
Thank you, Dr. Tilly. May we have any discussion? I'd like to also thank Dr. McCabe for all that you have done in this district. Like I said, you all have put up with me for 5 years, and for all the times that I've worked with you, I've always appreciated your feedback and really respect your expertise. So I want to thank you very much for taking us on and for being here with us. May we have is there any other discussion? May we have a vote, Ms. Polk?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you very much. Item C, review and potential approval of proposed amendment to employment agreement for Assistant Superintendent, Human Resources, Ken Whittemore. There are no public speakers. May we have a motion?
Move approval.
Thank you, Mr. Flynn. May we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Dr. Hunley. Are there any comments? Mr. Whittemore, I want to thank you, too, for growing me. Like I said, I am a better board member in large measure due to your expertise and you taking time to work with us all. So thank you very much. May we have a vote, please, Ms. Polk?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item D, review and potential approval of revised district comprehensive calendars for the 25-26 and 26-27 school years. There are no public speakers. May we have a motion, please?
I would move approval.
Thank you, Dr. Tilly. May we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Dr. Hunley. Is there any discussion? Yes, ma'am.
Thanks. My response to the question regarding the move of the collaboration day on the Wednesday in March to the Friday after back-to-school night was answered, but I'm still confused because I didn't see it in the calendar. So can someone reassure me that, in fact, we're not losing a collaboration day?
We are not losing a collaboration day.
Has that answered your question? Any more discussion?
I am concerned that, because it's often when you move a collaboration day to a Friday after the back-to-school night, which is always a very busy time for our teachers, what it really means is that people tend to take an early weekend, and there's nothing wrong with that. However, our kids deserve to have their teachers collaborating, and by removing that date, I was concerned that the students would not be receiving collaboration as desired on the Wednesday in order to enhance both assessment and rubric development for our students. So that was my concern.
Well, thank you very much. May we have a vote, Ms. Polk?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you very much. Item, we're in F, right? Oh, we're E. Item E, review and potential approval of resolution number 2526, 2526 school calendar for Lincoln, that's right, Lincoln Day observance. There is no presentation. There are no public speakers. May we have a motion, please?
Move approval.
Thank you, Dr. Tilly. May we have a second?
Second.
Second, Dr. Duarte. Any discussion? Ms. Polk?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Right on. Item F, review and potential approval of resolution number 032526, 2027 school calendar for Lincoln Day observance. There are no public speakers. May we have a motion, please?
Move approval.
Thank you, Dr. Tilly. May we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Dr. Duarte. Discussion? Yes, ma'am.
I just want to say that I do think it's brilliant that we have President's Week, and I do support this change. It's a very needed break in the middle of, coming when needed, and I know families appreciate it as well. So I recommend this.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. May we have a vote, Ms. Polk?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Brilliant. All right, item G, review and potential approval of resolution number 2526, authorizing employment for instructors, divisional internship permit. There are no public speakers. May we have a motion?
I move.
Thank you, Dr. Duarte. May we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Dr. Tilly. And there discussion? May we
Aye.
in favor? Any opposed? Item H, review, there is no opposition. Item H, review and potential approval, resolution number 2526, authorizing employment on a variable term waiver. There are no public speakers. May we have a motion?
Move approval.
Thank you, Dr. Tilly. May we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Dr. Duarte. Discussion? May we have a vote, Ms. Polk?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Item I, review and potential approval of the resolution number 072526, authorizing speech language pathologists to provide services based on a local assignment option. There are no public speakers. May we have a motion?
Move approval.
Second.
Thank you, Dr. Who was that? Tilly or Duarte? No, Dr. Duarte, who seconded? Dr. Hunley? All right, any discussion?
Yeah,
Yes,
it
ma'am.
looks like based on the 20 vacancies that we have, that this is really necessary. So I'm glad to support this.
Thank you very much. Do we have a vote, please, Ms. Polk?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes. Item G, review and potential approval of the certified substitute salary schedule. There is no presentation. There are no public speakers. May we have a motion, please?
I move.
Thank you, Dr. Duarte. Thank you for a motion. Thank you, Mr. Flynn, for a second. Is there any discussion? No discussion, Ms. Polk.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. Motion passes. Item K, review and potential approval of the revised classified clerical substitute salary. There is no public speakers. There are no public speakers. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Thank you. Dr. Parr, may I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Dr. Hunley. Is there a discussion? No discussion. May I have a vote, Ms. Polk?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Moving on. Item L, review and potential approval of the revised classified support substitute salary schedule. There is no presentation. There are no public speakers. May we have a motion?
Move approval.
Thank you, Dr. Tilly. Second.
Second.
Thank you, Dr. Duarte. Any discussion? No discussion. May we have a vote, Ms. Polk?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Right on. Any opposed? No? Moving on. Item M, review and potential approval of revised substitute psychologist salary schedule. There is no presentation. There are no public speakers. May we have a motion, please?
I move.
Thank you, Dr.
Second.
Duarte. May we have second? Second, Dr. Hunley. Is there a discussion? No discussion. Ms. Polk?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. Any opposed? No? Okay, moving on to item N. Staff has requested that we pull item 13N. It will be brought back to a future meeting. Is that all right with everybody? They're going to be pulling 13N. Cool. Moving on to item O, review and potential approval of revised classified management schedule, salary schedule. There are no public speakers. May we have a motion, please?
Move approval.
Thank you, Dr. Tilly. May we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Dr. Duarte. Discussion? No discussion, Ms. Polk.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Item 14, action items 14A, review and potential approval of the board self-evaluation goals for 25-26 school year. There are no public speakers. May we have a motion, please?
I'd like to make a motion.
Yes.
I would like to make a motion that we adopt the board self-evaluation goals with a new option that is a compromise between options A and B under the two options for Goal 2 that would read, engage in professional development activities such as California School Board Association, CSBA events and trainings. So that is my motion.
I'll second that.
Discussion. Mr. Flynn.
I'd like to explain some context. There was two goals. There were two options listed under the goals, and there was some lengthy discussion. Goal A says that engage in professional development activities. The original goal that I submitted, because it was my idea to propose this, was include California School Board Association trainings such as the Masters in Governance program, such as the Annual Education Conference, and such as the Brown Act train. We had some discussion on the board. I took the feedback genuine into account. While I don't fully agree, I understand the concern about an unfunded mandate. By just change it to CSB activities, it doesn't say which activities. It could be anything from a free online training to going to the paid conference. So I think that tries to address the concern at the unfunded mandate. My concern is that there should be specific deliverables, as there are other deliverables on goals. So for that, I think it's a compromise. It still has a bit of a specific deliverable, but it does address the concern at the unfunded mandate. So that's why I want to bring that to the board. Thank you.
Dr. Tilley and then Mr. Wilson.
Yeah, I oppose option B and support option A. I think it is arrogant to presume that CSBA has the corner on the market of providing professional development tools to the board. I also think it's elitist, and I also think that it deprives the board, rather than expands the board, of choosing areas of appropriate interest. So I think it's kind of a keep it simple approach. Of course, we are all engaging in professional development. Of course, attendance at the annual education conference, participation in Make If Desired, all enrich the experience of the board, but ultimately we are elected to represent our trustee areas, and we are not elected based upon whether or not we have gone into lockstep with CSBA, number one. Number two, there was a lot of rhetoric during the last election around this rubber stamp board. And quite frankly, when you say, here's the professional development you need to do, this is how you're supposed to complete it, this is not a condition of office, and I find it offensive and patronizing, and I absolutely oppose that restriction. We need to value the experience that our trustees bring to the table, and we need to grant them the adult permission to decide which professional development activities they engage in without limitation.
Thank you for that. And for Mr. Wilson.
Before I speak, would the chair clarify the motion? Because I have the options in front of me. How does the motion modify the options?
Mr. Flynn, would you like to clarify?
So there were two options presented. The original proposed language is option B. I propose option B. Option A is the revision language that was separately proposed. What I am saying is I am proposing a compromise option that addresses the concerns behind the opposal to option B. So my top preference is option B, but I'm willing to compromise and say I'm okay with this revised language that I already ran past the superintendent. So that's kind of the context I want to give, something that kind of addresses the concern but still addresses my concern. So that's how it came here.
Okay, that clarifies the context. What's the language of the motion?
Oh, I apologize. Engage in professional development activities such as California School Board Association, CSBA, events and trainings.
So as I understand it, option A is engage in professional development activities. B, the original before your motion, it included those. Now it just lists them as possible examples. I don't mind possible examples. So the revised language is more acceptable to me, and I would think technically might meet the concerns of Dr. Tilley, since it's merely a few examples and nothing is assumed included. But I'm not sure how I want to vote. And I enjoy hearing arguments from any other board members. Thank you.
Just
Thank
following on.
you, sir. Is that you, Dr. Hunley?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Wilson. Dr. Hunley, you have the floor.
Yes, just following on Board Member Wilson's comments, I just wanted to clarify. So these are just options, correct? They're not mandates in any way? That's correct? Okay, yeah, that makes sense to me if they're just options. Yeah, thank you.
Is there any other discussion? Yeah, is there any other discussion? I would like to make an argument for option A, and here's another reason why. A couple of weeks ago, I'm sorry I interrupted Dr. Duarte's vacation, but on our emails, we received an invitation from the California Latino School Board Association, and it was to discuss cybersecurity and biliteracy in focus. I asked Dr. Duarte if he was interested in attending that, because I think that would be very helpful and informative for our board. So when you look at option B, it doesn't give us these options, and that's why I wanted to leave it open for option A, because, for example, like I said, in 2020, I attended the CUBE conference, learned a lot about the science of reading there. I think I presented a board report there. I think, options such as these types of school board associations that those of us who have different expertise can attend and then bring back that feedback. I think that's very helpful. And I'll give you another example. When we went to CSBA, I think it was last year, both Dr. Parr and Dr. Duarte came back with a suggestion for that School of Rock kind of a thing that we did. Was it School of Rock or School of Rap? That we're now implementing in our schools. And so attending a conference like that, we get that feedback. Attending the CUBE conference, that's the, I think it was Urban Educators Conference that I attended with Mr. Richardson in 2020. And then this one here, I think, is very useful. So I think if we keep A, it gives us more options and that's in addition to CSBA. And if you look at our board policies, I think it was 9130 or something like that. It encourages new board members to attend CSBA trainings and ethics trainings and Brown Act trainings and the like. So that is the argument that I would have for option A. Let's go to Dr. Duarte and we can come back to Mr. Flynn.
Yeah, I don't see in negative on the motion that's on the floor right now with Trustee Flynn. Giving some examples to those who may not know what professional development to attend is nothing but positive, but we're not encroaching them in just doing that. So I think the motion is valid, and it just, again, exemplifies for those who may not know.
Mr. Flynn.
I'd just like to clarify something. That it's not option B what we're voting on. We're voting on a revised language, and so I just want to clarify that is the revised language. It's not option B. And I just want to say I fully agree with Dr. Duarte. Thank you.
So essentially what he's saying is that we're voting on the option C compromise that Mr. Flynn has introduced, and that was to engage in professional development activities, and then the examples were CSBA events and trainings. So I think that just is inclusive, and I think that's a good argument that you make in terms of for new board members who aren't familiar with the different types of trainings. That is an example, and we can look further. Sure, I can dig that that argument. Who else had their hand up? Dr. Partridge? Oh, Mr.
I just want clarification.
Dr. Tilley and then Mr. Wilson.
So the new language is such as CSBA, not, okay. And then if it's such as, then that helps. But I've said this last board meeting, and I'll say it again. When you express one, you, number one, give imprimatur or priority to that. And number two, you may then create questions as to whether non-CSBA trainings are appropriate. And that is why I'm, it's just a legal thing. I'm okay with the modified language. I just don't want to limit our options in terms of trainings. My preference would be to leave it open, because then there's no confusion as to what professional trainings we may wish to engage in. And that's all I have to say. So it doesn't, as long as the language is such as and used only for example, I can live with that. I'm still going to vote. Well, we'll see what happens. Thanks.
All right, Mr. Wilson.
Since I don't have the written motion in front of me, usually I do, and I have confidence.
We can on the computer screen.
Thank you. That's the kind of thing I value. I don't see the word example, but I see such as. Now that I know exactly what I'm voting on, I'm ready.
Is there a question? Dr. Tilley, Dr. Hunley.
Oh, I just wanted to say, I feel such as does allow for more options. So I would support such as.
Cool. All right, is there any more discussion? Cool, may we have a vote, Ms. Polk?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you very much, and thank you for the compromise. I think that was wonderful, and thank you for that discussion. Right on. Moving on to, let's see, that was self-evaluation. Oh, my goodness. We're down to item 19. Oh, sorry, 18. Review and revised, oh, that's good. Review and revised handbook. Mr. Flynn, you have the floor.
Thank you.
This is just, oh, by the way, this is just information item. We're not voting on anything. And if you would like to introduce this item from your subcommittee meeting, please.
So recently, we had 2 special meetings of the governance subcommittee in June and July. We were tasked on revising the governance handbook. At the first retreat that we had in January, the board had some initial discussion, but we asked it to have some referred to committee. We had some more productive discussion in May and decided that for the rest of it, the committee would be an effective way to look at it. I would personally like to thank my fellow committee members, board members Brigitte Hunley and Craig Wilson. I could not have done it without them. They were both invaluable to this process, and it was a really great marketplace of ideas that we had at the committee meetings. I really feel like there was honest, genuine communication, and I want to thank both committee members for their work in this, and as well as Superintendent Sachs, who provided some great advisory feedback, and we were able to get some ideas from. The proposed language is a recommendation from the governance subcommittee. They are here tonight as information and action in August. They're here for information tonight, action in August, because I understand it's a lot of changes. I understand that it's a very precious document for us, and I want to make sure that we had enough time to review it. I didn't want anyone to feel that it was rushed. I didn't want anyone to feel that we were doing this too quickly. However, we all set to be efficient, so that's why I wanted to do that. I am open to discussion, and if there are any specific ideas in this handbook that people have concerns with, or even have further questions about what was the rationale, I'm more than happy to answer questions. So I want to introduce that, and again, thank my committee members. It truly was 2 very, very productive meetings with a great marketplace of ideas, and I want to thank them. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Discussion, please. Mr. Wilson and Dr. Tilley.
Okay, I was on the subcommittee, but I was one of 3. My vote often did not carry. I think the committee far exceeded its mandate, and I advocated for that. I would prefer that we revise no more than 1 section per meeting to allow us input from the whole board, because it's supposed to be a central document that we're expressing a lot of concern about. We have over the last several months, and we have in-services planned. And so this, while if we're required to do an up or down vote with no other choices, I don't know. Well, no, we can choose to revise it or send it back or consider a smaller subset. I'd probably vote against the package, even though if, I feel responsible for some of the content of it, and might advocate for individual sections, but this amount at this time, I don't think is warranted. Thank you.
Well, this is just for discussion. We're not going to do it. We're not voting this evening. Yes. So, yeah, there is no vote this evening. We're just having a discussion. And thank you for your input, Mr. Wilson, Dr. Tilley.
So I have a number of edits, and my problem is personal to me. It's been well known that I will not be at the August board meeting, And I am particularly concerned about my understanding on referring the handbook to committee following the board's retreats in January and May was that those sections that were raised by the board would be the only ones subject to edit. And so I was surprised, quite frankly, to see a number of edits. I was also concerned because some of the edits were not consistent with my notes or the official notes, the limited notes, by the way, from our presenter, okay, which is one of the reasons why I've had problems with continuing that contract. So I can spend some time with you here now. I've got about 16 comments because I will not be here to do that. And I would like to hear from my board members about why things like not keeping the focus on student achievement is something that is being deleted from our handbook. I'm not understanding that. Why the order of the meeting is being changed, that is new. Why the censure provisions are being removed from the handbook. Those are some of the highlights of that. Because of my limitations, and I don't wish to inconvenience the board, my request was that we just do a simple study session on it. There's not urgency because, quite frankly, we're going to have a change in our board, and I think that onboarding whoever is appointed is important to that process. And, you know, originally we'd agreed that we'd have it back in June. I'm very glad that it wasn't brought back in June because despite 2 meetings, the LCAP and the budget really take priority, not to dismiss the excellent work of the committee, by the way. I don't mean to criticize the committee. I'm just very concerned that much of the notes, when I did about a 4-hour comparison today, and I looked at it, and then even within the minutes, on one of them it says, take these out on 3.1. No, put it back in. And then I've got a draft that I spent significant time trying to reconcile, and there were changes that were not discussed. So we can discuss them tonight, but I'd rather have the leisure of looking at it item by item. So, you know, if the board is willing to indulge me, I'd ask that we do a brief study session. It can be facilitated or not, okay? So that we can actually compare the notes from the retreat that we have, as well as the new information, in a way that will permit dialogue between us, because we've not spoken on at least 8 of the proposed changes on this. So I'm going to be voting against this tonight for that reason. There's no vote tonight, so that's the information that I have to give. If in fact the board does not wish to engage further on the governance handbook and doesn't wish to engage in a brief study session to permit a deep dive together one more time, facilitated or not, potentially when we have a new board member, then I will take the time tonight to go through those comments with you.
Any more discussion? Mr. Flynn, and Mr. Wilson.
Thank you. So I understand the concerns, and when we said this at committee, if there was a discussion of if certain pieces were rejected. I understand the benefits of a study session. My concern with a study session is that we spent over 3 hours as a committee, actually more, discussing this, and I kind of don't want to reinvent the wheel. I kind of don't want to have the same discussions that we entrusted a committee to have. My other concern is this. When we had the retreat in January, I think that would have been more the appropriate time to say, let's do a study session, than let's send it to committee. Now that we've sent it to committee, it's been unanimously approved. Now let's unsend it to committee. Now let's send it to a study session. I think that the timing is the reason I would support continuing this in August. What I am open to, because there are a lot of genuinely positive things in here, in my opinion. I'm not married to every single language in here. If there's specific concerns about the language, about revising or deleting or adding certain things, I'm very open to changing some things back, if that's the will of the board. And if there are specific questions about specific pieces, I'm going to answer that. And I understand there's a couple of provisions I'm open to changing, so if board members have specific changes, there is that, and I'm definitely open to that. So I want to hear what the specific changes are and what we can do to address those concerns specifically. Thank you.
Dr. Parr, then Mr. Wilson.
I just wanted to mention that I felt that our board retreat was very beneficial. We didn't just focus on this handbook, so, we had a lot of other activities, team building, and a variety of other opportunities for us to discuss other areas of focus. We did spend time on this, and I felt that it was very beneficial to hear the history, to know the context, as you have a new board member that's coming on board. I think that would be beneficial. I did enjoy having it facilitated by an expert, individuals who work with other boards and who have examples of other handbooks that we can, so that we're not reinventing the wheel. And I know that sometimes with scheduling, it can become a difficulty. And so I would be proposing that that be considered, to get a date on calendar to have a further discussion with the entire board, and really focusing and honing and specifically on the handbook, and maybe not all of the other elements that were discussed during the last two retreats.
Thank you very much, Mr. Wilson.
I understand it's not up for vote for tonight. Another point, the agenda for our next meeting is not set. It's not firm. There is a suggestion that we have it as information item tonight, and then next month have it as a action item, but it's not firm. It's not set. I object. In fact, since Board Member Tilley has serious reservations about not being fully included in its discussion at our next meeting, I would object to us having this as an action item in the next month. So I hope that doesn't happen. But I'm not in charge of the agenda, and I will see what happens. But I can use my voice to say we should not hold the action item vote on this at our next meeting. Thank you.
Duarte, and then we'll come back to Mr. Flynn, and we'll wrap this up, shall we? Oh, you didn't have a comment? Mr. Flynn.
I just want to clarify, it's not a suggestion, it was a unanimous committee recommendation with all committee members supporting the decision to hold as information July and then August. And just to clarify, I do want to include Board Member Tilley and all other board members in this. I just want to see what I've heard these concerns, but I want to see what the specific pieces, the specific line items. And I'm saying I'm open to changes. If we can just figure this out, then we can just bring it back in August with the changes that have been asked, and then we can approve it in August. So.
Thank you. So since it's the discussion item, and everybody's had an opportunity to comment, Dr. Hunley, did you have a comment?
Yeah, no, I just wanted to clarify again. So my understanding is this was indeed a unanimous vote. I'm sure some of you can check the minutes on that at the governance meeting. But also that this is indeed just a recommendation to the board, correct? Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, just to confirm from that. All right, thank you. And yeah, my understanding from our meetings is that there was a desire to update things and streamline and so forth, but, that did not in any way not leave room for modification after the recommendations were sent, correct? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. So in light of all of this discussion, we're thinking of some are considering we should have another study session to really review all of the items that are here on in the handbook. Dr. Tilley is not going to be here next month, and it is now a fact that we're going to have a new board member as Superintendent Parr is moving on. And so we have, I believe, depending on when she decides to resign, we have exactly 60 days to appoint or decide to elect. But I also think, having taken this Master's in Governance, which I now appreciate having taken that, I've learned so much. And one of the things that we learned there is that we new board. We'll have 2 new board members, and I think Ms. Polk needs to have some input in what our handbook was included in the handbook, because you were part of the board and you have to adhere to what's in the handbook, and I think it's important that you have a say-so in what that looks like as well, since there are a lot of new things that apply to student board members, such as being on committees, right? And so those kinds of things, I think that's important that you have a say-so in it. And also, whoever is replacing our new superintendent at SCO is going to have a say-so as well. And I want everybody to be able to have a full discussion. And I think, as Dr. Parr said, we had a really robust 2 sessions with the facilitators, and we as a board decided, okay, you know what, it's not time sensitive, we're going to move it back. And now we're sitting here going, hey, we shoved everything into what the subcommittee was going to do, and then some people aren't happy with it because that's not what a lot of us thought was going to go into it. So I would like to, at least with some discussion here, or direction to the superintendent, that we do have a study session when you come back, after you come back, and I think when we appoint the new person, or whatever the decision is, the board, because I do think that, like I said, we have a new board member, that's a new board, we're going to have 2 new board members, definitely a new board. So can we give direction to organize a study session of sorts to discuss all of this here further? What, do you have comment?
So we have a committee recommendation. While I'm open to this, I want to be clear, it would take a majority of the board to specifically say that they want to take this course of action, in my opinion, to override that. So, I'll just say, if the concern is time, why don't we just delay this until September? Board Member Tilley will be back. We will know what the situation is with Area 7 by then. So we will have hopefully a full board by then. And then, so we can just buy time. I'm open to that as a compromise. I still think that we should consider this in August, but I'm open to, Board Member Tilley will be back in September. That actually will be the same mean that we're considering the retreat. So I think that would buy some time. We have the committee recommendation through August. We have the idea of a study session. I would say, what if we did September? That buys time. It allows Board Member Tilley to be here, and it allows us to have time to figure out what's going to happen with a potentially new board member. So,
Cool, and I also do think Ms. Polk did not have any input into this one, and into this, and so that was with Ms. Perry last year. So I think it's important that she have a say-so, and she has not had any say-so as to any recommendations in the handbook, or to vote on the recommendations that have been brought to the board from the subcommittee. And you haven't had an opportunity to be on that to be at that meeting, have you? Dr. Tilley, and then that's what's going on. Let's go to Dr. Tilley first.
I'll say,
Go to Dr. Tilley first.
No, I would be very grateful to the board, and I'm not trying to inconvenience you, but I would be, in the interim, what I can do is I can send I guess to the board, I can attach to you, I've converted the document into Word, and then I put comments along each section where there is a concern and invited discussion as to each of those, and I'm happy to share that. They are numerous. I mean, and not necessarily that it's not okay, just that, oh, here's one we didn't talk about, can we talk about it, okay? So if the board would indulge me by deferring decision-making on the handbook revisions to the September board meeting, and if I can legally communicate that work to the committee in writing and to my fellow board members, then maybe it'll make it so that we don't have to spend as much time if we choose to act on it from the dais at the September meeting. Or if we, and maybe it'll be, well, no, but that makes sense, we can talk about it, and then we don't need a study session. But that indulgence would be very much appreciated from the committee.
Ms. Pope, would that be amenable to you? Will that give you some time to also look through the handbook and ask some questions of clarification of the chair? And would that be amenable? And then we can have this discussion in open session was it September? And then vote on it in September? Would you be amenable to that? Would that give you enough time?
Yes, I would love the opportunity to look over it and have my own say in it also.
Excellent. Mr. Wilson, did you have a comment?
I would just say, I feel like that's a good compromise to allow time, but also in the interest of getting a handbook done eventually, so.
Yeah.
I
And I
appreciate
think,
that.
And I think maybe with the extra questions, maybe that you could answer the questions and they could be streamlined. It's like, here's a rationale. That way, we have all of those questions answered, and we can have just a discussion in September, and then we can vote for it. That way, gives Ms. Pogue an opportunity to, and then also it gives also Dr. Parr an opportunity too to look at it, because I think she can look forward to what, representing that area, what some focus would be for representation going forward. So I think that would be, I would take that compromise, that we have whoever wants to add questions to the handbook and bring it back to, I guess you could answer them, Mr. Flynn and Superintendent, and then we can have this discussion. And if you'd like to streamline and condense the questions and tell us what the rationale is. Was that fair, Mr. Flynn?
I'm always willing to answer any questions.
How's that? So is that enough, is that clear enough in terms of direction? So between now and September, I suppose, we're going, since Dr. Tilley is not going to be here in August, we have an opportunity to reread this handbook thoroughly. Whoever has any questions, they can direct them to Mr. Flynn, and then he can answer those questions. We can have this discussion in September and then vote on it. Is that cool? Okay, thank you very much.
I believe we are clear with the direction.
Thank you very much. So we have 2 months. Okay, good. We have 2 months to review this. Ms. Polk, Dr. Tilley, and everybody else who has any questions, ask the questions. Mr. Flynn will answer them. We'll bring it back to the board in September. We'll have a discussion, and then we can vote on it. Okay, thank you very much. Moving on to item number 19. Thank you for all your input. We have item 19A, a presentation on the budget update. Ms. Grindle, you have the floor.
Thank you, and good evening, Board President Patero, governing board members, and Superintendent Sachs. Tonight I have a brief update for you on what we learned about the state enacted budget after attending school services workshop this past Tuesday. This is the first time in a while I had more than a few hours to put some information together for you this evening. We've also come full circle in our budget financial cycle. When we first brought this to you as a visual, we started at the top and we're back around to the beginning. So here we are with the month of July and the enacted state budget. So the biggest takeaway from school services is that there was little change from the May revision to the state budget, and there were no reductions from the May revision. So that is good news for us. However, it does not come without some risks as we look forward in future planning with our multi-year projection. While we have a balanced state budget, there are some structural deficits that are continuing on. I'll talk a little bit more about one of those later. As we know, federal instability with what money we may or may not receive in decisions that change often, and any effects that tariffs may have to our state economy. So that was at the state budget level, and when you come down to K-12 education, much of that is the same, in addition to just rising costs of doing business. Again, those tariffs may come in because some of the goods and services that we rely on may cost more as well, in addition to the structural deficits and federal budget changes. You're going to hear me talk a lot about the federal budget changes because that was probably the biggest area of discussion with school services. There's a lot of information on this slide about the executive orders, the proposal, the stoppage of funds, but the bottom line is that we have uncertainty and we will have to just navigate through as we learn information, sometimes every day. So as we've learned, there is a spending proposal that would reduce overall federal spending by $163 billion from previous levels, and that includes some significant cuts to federal education spending. There is a proposal to kind of consolidate a lot of the title programs into some sort of funding formula, but it does propose to eliminate adult education funding as well as Title III and migrant education funding. The changes with the federal government not only affect just the money that we receive from certain grants and federal monies, but with the changes to eligibility for Medicaid and SNAP benefits for our families, we rely on them, and the state actually relies on them, as you see this chart here, for how we receive funding in certain areas at the state level. In particular, there will be more reliance on ensuring families complete our alternate income verification forms. We have a number of students in this community that are what you call direct certified in our high needs students population because they receive Medicaid and other different federal benefits at that level. I did a little digging, and approximately 50% of our high needs student population, or clinically, as the state calls them, our unduplicated students, 50% of them come to us via that direct certification, or 35% of our overall student population. So with some of those eligibility changes, we may see some changes that come at the state funding level as well. We'll just have to see, but it's something that we'll have to keep an eye on. So school services advice, hope for the best, plan for the worst. That's kind of the mantra in our business department anyway. So we will constantly be monitoring these changes and we'll respond accordingly. On more stable news, these are the factors that we use to build our local control funding formula. The one difference from what we presented to you in June for the local adopted budget versus the state enacted budget is we were provided some advice to hold because there was some discussion about the additional monies for our transitional kindergarten add-on. So we'll be incorporating that change because it did make it to the final enacted state budget. All of the other factors remain the same. There's a lot of numbers on here. So what we did is some quick math. So based on our projected average daily attendance that we know right now, of course, we will revise that as actual numbers come in. With the additional transitional kindergarten add-on funding, we're looking at approximately an $800,000 increase in our overall local control funding formula revenues. This is just a reminder of all the other planning factors that we use to build the revenue and expenditure sides of our budget. No major changes here. So in the beginning, I did talk about some of the structural deficits, and so one of those items is that part of the state budget is to bring back our not-so-favorite word, deferrals. So the state will be deferring our June apportionment payment under the local control funding formula to July because that will be in the next fiscal year. We will just monitor as we always cash and whatnot. I think we'll be able to weather that. We've weathered it when we've had deferrals in the past, some of them very significant, but it's just something I wanted to bring to your attention as part of that structural deficit and know that we'll be monitoring that accordingly. One item that was also part of the final enacted budget is this very long title, Student Support and Professional Development Discretionary Block Grant. We're just going to call it Discretionary Block Grant from now on. It is part of the enacted budget. Our preliminary, just an estimate, school services put together some quick estimates for us, would be about $5.9 million. It is 100% discretionary, but state has suggested priorities as evidenced by the very long title. Once actual amounts are known, staff will come back, bring those actual amounts to the governing board with also recommendations of how to utilize those funds. One of the recommendations from school services is, if we are to go back to one of the earlier slides, is and weathering the uncertainty with potential federal funding cuts. Transitional kindergarten, as I stated a couple of times already, you'll see where there's underlined, so we're now receiving $2,397 in addition to what was previously in our transitional kindergarten add-on, for a total for each, just our TK students, of $5,545. This is to help implement what is now a mandate to have our student to adult ratio in our TK classes, moving from what used to be a 12-to-1 ratio and now will be a 10-to-1 ratio. So next steps, the state is actually still working on bills, including the trailer bill language. They actually have until September 12th to pass those bills, so there may be some minor changes in the interim. There is the possibility of mid-year adjustments. We've been in a pattern because of disasters and other things to have delayed tax revenues. So LA County, with the devastating fires that happened earlier this year, will have to see what those final taxes come in, and that may make some adjustments in the overall state budget. And then, of course, the changes to federal funds. Locally, staff has been working very hard in closing our books for the prior year, and then any ending fund balance changes will change any of our multi-year projection outlooks. And that will come, the unaudited actual, so that final closing of last year will come to the governing board in September. And then what we typically refer to as the 45-day budget revision, what we see as two kind of the major ones is our ELOP programs. They also did finalize and enact the change of Tier 1 school districts to Tier 2 school districts to Tier 1. It sounds backwards. So Fairfield Suisun will now be considered a Tier 1 district, so there will be some additional funding that comes along with that, also additional requirements, as well as the transitional kindergarten add-on changes. And with that, I turn it back over to Board President Patero for further discussion.
Thank you very much. Any board discussion? Dr. Tilley?
I just am, so it feels as though school services is suggesting that the 2.2 million and some change that is not showing up as a result of the federal administration that we use, I think it's a very long title, Student Support Block Grant Funds, to partially plug that hole. I'm wondering, in view of our approved budget, whether we will be seeing numbers showing, or revised numbers showing our year-over-year projections, because we've just granted a 3.5% raise across the board to our employees, and we have some significant shortfalls. So I'm hoping to see that data in that format to understand the extent of the shortfalls and maybe options for using this student money to do that. I realize this is all just coming in, so not tomorrow, do you know what I mean? But I would like to see that data, number one. Number two, I just wanted to comment that I'm delighted to see that the additional funds for TK will be helping to change the student to adult ratio from 12 to 1 to 1, 10 to 1, and I'm hoping that we can implement that well and fairly through staffing. So those are my only two comments. You were going to respond.
I was just going to share that in September, we present to the board the unaudited actuals. And so we take a look at this new budget information. We'll be able to really have an accurate accounting as the books are closing right now to share with the board about what exactly it cost to run the district last year. And so these new dollars will be embedded within that. Hopefully we'll have more information and they'll unfreeze some of the other funding, but we'll be able to have that discussion and you'll be able to see it at that point.
Thank you very much, Mr. Flynn.
Thank you. I'm on the presentation. I just want to express, yes, absolute concern with the proposed closing of the U.S. Department of Education. That's very scary for our district and for other districts as well. And also the change in the One Big Beautiful Bill, which establishes a school voucher program. I think it's important that we support our public schools, so that's a concern I have. So anything we can do with lobbying, and I serve in the delegate assembly, and anything we can do on lobbying our federal and state representatives on issues like that is important. And then on the happier side of it, agreeing with Board Member Tilley about it is really, one of the reasons I ran for school board was lowering class sizes, and that's why I'm really glad to see the 12-to-1 to 10-to-1 change on the TK ratio. I think that's going to make a real difference at the earliest start of life. And many studies have shown that if you have that quality instruction at the early ages, it really does make a lifelong impact. So,
Thank you. Oh, Dr. Tilley.
I just also wanted to mention and to thank Mr. Flynn for our work together at the district governance level, because CSBA is actively working, and we've had opportunities and will continue to have opportunities as your representatives to weigh in with our legislators, as well as to support, number one, can you please state not defer our funding at a time when we're already coming up short because of the dismantling of this. So I really appreciate that opportunity to serve, and I'm really grateful for the structure and the support that both Mr. Flynn and CSBA give our board in trying to minimize the ouch. Okay.
Thank you so much. Dr. Dwyer, did you have a question?
Oh, I would just say I
Dr. Tilley,
concur with
Hunley.
the importance of the advocacy of lobbying to advocate for keeping our funds and, retaining our funds as much as possible. And also, I'm very excited by the 12-to-1 ratio. So, thank you.
10-to-1.
10-to-1, sorry. I should say the change from 12 to 1, but yes.
Yeah, there you go. Yes, and your colleague on SCO, who's also a delegate, last night mentioned how wonderful it was working with you too, and your advocacy for our boards at the state level. I had a quick question. Because it's $2.2 million at the state that the federal government, that's our portion that they're holding back, the state legislature passed a bill to what do you call it? They allocated funds for the state for the state's lawsuits against the federal government. And this may be Pollyannish and this may be hopeful, but is there any way that the state's thinking of giving all of the districts their apportionment of this $6 billion and then reimburse us when they win the lawsuit, if they win the lawsuit, if we still have a Department of Education left?
Hope springs eternal, but I would not put all my eggs in that basket, President Patera.
So you two can work on that.
California's being punished.
Oh, my goodness. All right. So thank you very much for that discussion. We're moving on to item 19B, written report, quarterly report on Williams uniform complaints. There are no public speakers in the board discussion. All right. No? Good. Item C is a written report, Solano County Investment Report for the third quarter, 24-25, ending March 31st, 2025. There are no presentations. There is no public speakers. Is there any board discussion? Moving on, item D, Employee Organization Report, EFSUDA, APA, CSEA, FISMA, in no particular order. You have the floor. Oh, okay. I hope President Williamson is having fun at Disneyland and enjoying her grandchild. Moving on to item E, Student Board Member Ms. Polk, you have the floor.
I do not have much for tonight. As I am just getting into this role, I will have more next month and the months after this. But as for tonight, I do not have much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Polk. And Superintendent Sachs wanted to have a couple of comments regarding the handbook before we adjourn.
Just some clarification with regards to the government handbook, which I believe was item 18. It would be aligned to the Brown Act to have any edits go straight to Ms. Garay rather than it go to Trustee Flynn, because then we might run into a majority of the board having information, and we don't want that to happen. So if you do have any edits, please be as explicit as possible. Change this word, or this sentence should be added back or deleted, as much description. And then if there is a rationale you'd like to include with that, that will go to one place, and then it will be shared widely, so then we have that being done appropriately. Yes. Thank you.
And thank you for that clarification, because I was going to actually ask you after the meeting, is it okay for me to send this? The only thing is that some of the comments are simply discuss. okay? In other words, there's new things, and then I might say, or consider keeping this in, or consider whatever. So thank you for the direction, and I really appreciate it. You guys are wizards when it comes to working on that Google Sheets thing, but I'm sorry, but it is in Word and it's got comments, so it should be easy to cut and paste and transcribe. So the direction then for all of us, really, if you have, as you review, if you have comments or questions, then those should go to Ms. Garay for incorporation into a proposed draft that can then be shared with all of us. Is that what you're saying? Great, thanks so much, including the chair.
Yes, thank you for that clarification. And that brings us to adjournment, yes? And I'd like to adjourn on two levels. One, a goodbye, and one, a hello. And we'd like to adjourn first in honor of Jane Day, who is a former city council member, and Mr. Flynn had a relationship, or knows Mrs. Day, and I'd like to know if you would like to have a few moments to speak with her.
Thank you. So I had the pleasure of talking to Councilmember Day when I ran for school board in 2022. She served an incredible 36 years on the Sassoon City Council from 1986 until 2022. It is an incredible amount of time. There were so many changes. She did so much in Sassoon, from redeveloping downtown Sassoon. If anyone, I don't know this because I wasn't alive, but from what I've seen, Sassoon's downtown became such a bustling place partially because of her leadership. They passed many bond measures. They invested in public safety. They worked collaboratively with our school district on many issues, and Councilmember Day was a part of that for many of those decades. I remember when I was a candidate for this board, we had a really great conversation, and she introduced me to a lot of public policy topics that I didn't consider at the time, but became relevant when I served on the board. And it was a really great conversation, and I don't know if you have.
I think you've done her justice, but I just wanted to say she was super fun. Whenever Sassoon hosted the joint meeting between our district and Sassoon, she had there, which was a bonus, as well as great ideas, and worked so well with our district throughout the years in bringing to fruition good things for our students. So, rest.
Thank you both very much. On that, to all of the service, years and decades of service that Ms. Day provided to the city of Sassoon, I would like to also end on a positive note too, and that is a hello to our new superintendent of Solano County Office of Education. I think when you look at the character of a person, of a human being, and you look at the support that human being brings, every single one of our board, Dr. Duarte was still on vacation, showed up in support of the nomination and appointment of Dr. Parr as our new superintendent of SCO. Not only did we all show up, she had her professional references, people showed up. She had personal references, people showed up, who had known her since she was a child. She was born in Scotland. She's a Scot and an American. She had people talk about her credentials and her just educational background and her professionalism and just all the accolades that she had. And what all of those things came down to was under the umbrella of community. And to be the superintendent of Solano County Office of Education, one has to build that community because you oversee and you have a relationship with all the superintendents in all 6 of our districts. And on behalf of the board, we've only had 6 months together. And I just want you to know, thank you so much for the relationship that you have built here. And for every single one of us, you took each and every one of us individually and built relationships. And I'm confident that you're going to do that at the Solano County Office of Education as the new superintendent. I look forward to both you superintendents working together and building our county and making it just as fierce as possible. So on that note, congratulations on your appointment. And it hit me when Mr. Wilson spoke last night, and he said, our loss is their gain. And that's when I'm like, oh my gosh, he's going to leave us. So we're going to see you more often, and we'll be at all those events. And whatever you need in terms of support from this board, you have it. and we want to congratulate that. And on that note, thank you, Ms. Day, for all of your service. May you rest in peace and soar with Hulk Hogan and Georgie Vekoso and Malcolm Jamal Warner, and who else passed away? And Chuck Mangione. And Ozzy Osbourne, right? And so may they all rest in peace and soar among the angels. And congratulations, Madam Superintendent. On that note, we are adjourned.